Hi everybody, it's Sloan from SloanBella.com, and I am back with this week's astrology update. Now today is a very precarious day, interesting, fascinating, because we have a full moon at 0 degrees and 52 minutes of Leo and a total lunar eclipse. Tonight, if you're on the West Coast, which is January 20th at 9:16 p.m., or tomorrow if you're on the East Coast and wherever else you are, whatever your time zone is. This moon is known as a super blood moon, and it is also known as the wolf moon, which gives it a little bit of independence from the other type of emotional things that you can experience during a full moon lunar eclipse. Meaning the work is up to you. So to change your circumstances, it's completely up to you. Now, what is this full moon lunar eclipse? What does it mean? What's happening? What are we doing? And how does it work for each of us? Okay, let's start by the degree. The degree is a 0 degree and 52 minutes Leo full moon, and it's on that axis of Leo Aquarius, of which we've had a series of eclipses for the past 2 years. Even though the moon's nodes, which are what determine eclipses, have moved into Cancer Capricorn, this is the last in Leo of a series that we've had for the past 2 years. So this is tying up those loose ends before we jump into another series of eclipses that affect us in a different way. So how do we know how this full moon lunar eclipse affects us? How do we know how it's going to make us feel, how we're going to respond to it? Well, the first thing you need to know is, as I always tell you, your sun, moon, and rising sign. So are you a Leo sun, a Leo moon, a Leo rising? Is Leo in your second house, your 8th house, your 12th house? Where is Leo located in your chart? Even if you don't have planets in the sign of Leo, you do have houses that Leo occupies. So you need to know where that's located, and that will give you an idea of how this eclipse is going to affect you and the things that you will be focused on, because depending on the location in your natal chart, you will be affected differently from the person next to you, and so on. Now, the Leo energy is very interesting because Leo's ruling planet is the sun, and this is a lunar eclipse. So having said that, this is going to give this eclipse more of a flamboyant, fun, and all creative kind of an energy attached to it just by the very definition of the sign of Leo. Now, this eclipse is also interesting in that we have the North Node currently in Cancer, just moved, as I said, conjuncting the full moon in Leo. So Cancer's ruling planet is the moon, and it is in Leo during this phase. A North Node always encourages us to inform and educate ourselves in different areas of our life. So what is it we want to learn? How do we want to proceed from this point? What kind of information do we need to know? How do we find that information? It's a emotional, educational point within ourselves. So that's actually what's happening right now. So don't be surprised if you want to learn a new skill, move to a different job, teach yourself something, educate yourself in a different way. That would be the first part of this full moon total lunar eclipse. The other thing that we have in combination, of course, is a grand cross and a grand trine. What does that mean? As I said, we have a grand cross. So we have the moon squaring Pallas and Athena. These are feminine, placed in Libra at the moment, and they are of a warring or warrior or goddess warrior nature, however you want to word that. So we are being asked to actually be strong and let go of what is no longer needed. We also have Mercury squaring the South Node. Now, the South Node differs not only in name from the North Node, but in its representation. The South Node is where we've come from. So when you're looking at a natal chart, your natal chart, and you see the South Node, you will know that in a past life, you've come from that type of energy. Well, Mercury squaring the South Node is very interesting because it allows us to bring up on an intellectual level what we have been disappointed with, who we blame for that disappointment, what we regret doing. Did we regret moving to countries? Did we regret the jobs we took? Did we regret our marriages? Did we regret the houses we bought? What are we regretting that we've done that keeps us stuck in the past? the South Node. And Mercury is making us aware that those thoughts are no longer serving us, because the full moon is always leaving and expelling energy that we no longer need in our lives. So that's what's going on with Mercury squaring the South Node in Capricorn. And then we have a square to Uranus in Aries. So Uranus is everything unexpected, things that we hadn't planned on, what we didn't know about, all of those kinds of things. And that is happening along with the sun in Aquarius. So this energy is forcing us to take a chance and move forward. This whole eclipse is about learning how to let go of what no longer serves us so that we can move forward in a material and spiritual way. That does not mean I want you to buy 55 cars, although if you can, good for you, or have a Chanel purse. What it means is, what purpose do you serve in this life, and how can you combine it with the earthly life you're living? So the spiritual is, what are you here to do? And the material is, well, living on the earth. How do we generate an income from that? How do we balance our families, our children's, our homes, our vacations? That kind of thing. And how do you balance the two? Now, this eclipse and full moon is very, very fixated and focused and aggressively trying to get you to let go of the past. It's actually a shifting energetically on the planet, and it's a changing of energy in the most literal sense. And so that energy is hitting us hard and fast. Now, you may decide, I hate my job, I hate my home, I hate my marriage, I hate everything, and I'm leaving. You may actually decide that all in a day, but you can't really approach that during a full moon and eclipse. You have to take each thing at a time, bring it up, and really decide if it's something you want to let go of. That is the only way that you won't go back to it yet again. So in the releasing of the energy, it's kind of like cleaning out your clothes closet. You throw everything out on the floor, you look at it and you're like, I hate that. Then you pick it up, you look at it on you and you're like, I haven't worn it in like 15 years, but it's super cute. And you keep it. No, you actually have to take it out, look at it, make a mental decision to let go of it. That's what this eclipse is about. So it's about actually moving forward and letting go of the past disappointments in your life. You can't change them anyway because you've already lived that, been there, done that. So this energy is really forcing us. And as I said, these eclipses are a series of eclipses that happen on the Leo Aquarius axis, going on for the past 2 years, and this one is tying up all those loose ends. That's why there's such a feeling of like, I have to do this now. I have to complete this now. I have to do the work now. So that's how this full moon is affecting us. And also, always a good idea during the full moon to write out whatever you want to purge. So to put it on a piece of paper and write it out, kind of like this, write it out. Rip that paper up, throw it in the garbage, set fire to it over a sink full of water. Flush it down the toilet, throw it out with the garbage bin, whatever it is, let go of the energy. So whatever you no longer wish to have. Sometimes if we make the connection between the mental thought of it and the actual physicality of writing it down, it helps us to actually stick to that on an intellectual level, because that's what we're talking about during this eclipse. It's not just the full moon. And as I was mentioning before, it is a super blood moon, and it's also a wolf moon, which means there's an element of independence attached to it. You and I and all of us have to do the work ourselves. No one's going to come in and tell you, this is what you need to do. You need to do it like this. That's up to you. So you have to learn to deal with that and be okay and comfortable with it. Having said that, let's go into the 12 signs really quickly. All right, Aries, the first sign of the natural wheel of the zodiac. You guys have to watch yourself right now. What I will say, without going into all the detail, is that the energy is extremely erratic for Aries, and they may find themselves in life-changing situations because they didn't take the time to think out their actions. So again, that Uranus in Aries pushes us into kind of an erratic behavior if we have Aries sun, moon, or rising. Aries planets, planets squaring our Aries planets, aspecting them in any degree. So Aries actually needs to be very mindful of their thought and to consider it and then take action, not just run out the door and take action, but they always just run out the door and take action. Also, keep your wits about you because this is prime time for other people's weird ass shit to happen during an eclipse, and Aries will propel it to them because the unexpected always comes. Taurus is the second sign of the natural wheel of the zodiac, and as such is in a squaring aspect to this full moon and lunar eclipse. But it's really interesting because we're talking about Taurus subjects here when we're talking about this full moon. We are talking about combining the material and the spiritual. So Taurus is ruler of the earth plane as well as Venus, the planet of love. And this is an exceptional time for Taurus to get their act in gear for them. So Taurus is notoriously slow to make decisions, to make moves, to change things, is actually going to have very focused and very direct understanding of what they need to do to change their particular circumstance. So this is actually a good square for Taurus because it's forcing them to do the things they need to do in a heightened pace so that they don't waste the whole year regretting what they did last year or did not do. So for Taurus, this is actually good. All right, we jump to Gemini, the third sign of the natural wheel of the zodiac, the ruler of Mercury, which is squaring that south node. So you Geminis have a lot of things you have to let go of. There's a lot of built up resentment there, and this eclipse is only going to heighten it. Gemini and Leo, usually good friends in the zodiac, but Gemini is going to need to express itself during this full moon lunar eclipse and bring up all those hurts, past hurts and resentments and disillusionment with their life that they've been dealing with, and to let go, because this is a really good year for Gemini, but unless they let go of those things, it's going to be kind of in the shadows, just like a ghost in the shadows, stalking them the whole year. So this is giving them an opportunity to verbally and intellectually understand from where they've been, what decisions they made, how they allowed those decisions to happen, and to let go of it. So Gemini, you have work to do, but it can be done, and it can be done quickly. Okay, so from Gemini, we then jump to Cancer, the fourth sign of the natural wheel of the zodiac and the sign of the moon. So Cancer is ruled by the moon. So all full moons, new moons, and any form of the moon's phases affect your Cancer types, as I've always said. They are moody, with little pinchers, I have to do that. They're moody, erratic, oddly behaving, and this full moon is in Leo. So that gives the Cancer a little bit of an ego in its expression during this full moon lunar eclipse. So it's extremely interesting for Cancer. Cancer, usually understated and a little bit behind the scenes, working their magic, is going to step forward out into the front and basically start expressing themselves. So if you have a Cancer person in your life, moon, sun, or rising, and they are acting strangely, loudly, oddly, angrily, they are expressing what they need to let go of, especially during the full moon phase, which again makes people crazy, lunatics, lunacy. Cancers are especially prone to it because they are ruled by the moon. So wherever the moon goes, the Cancer's emotions go. That's how it works. But in this particular instance, it gives the shy and retiring type of Cancers a way to speak up. And so it gives them a little bit more self-confidence. Also, what Leo is about. So when the moon is placed in Leo, it's looking for self-confidence. Cancer needs that at times because they get so hurt and they're so sensitive to everything going on around them. They're just like, I'm hiding. So for Cancer, you guys are going to step up and speak out. So to me, I consider that a good thing. Going to the fifth sign of the natural wheel of the zodiac, we have Leo. Leo's ruling planet is the sun, yet the moon is going full in Leo. So if you are a Leo sun, moon, or rising, you probably are going to say, do, and express things that you don't think about in a way that you don't like. Just watch that you're not being recorded. And this moon is a last and series connected to eclipses of Leo Aquarius. So like your opposition of Aquarius, Leo, you have, this is the tail end of tying up those things that you no longer wish to deal with. What do you want to remove out of your life? How are you going to do it? How do you move forward? And how do you bring about your self-confidence? That's what this moon is about. While you are saying what you are no longer wanting to be in your life, how do you keep your confidence level up when everybody around you is probably going to tell you the opposite of what you're wanting to say? That's the curiosity factor during this. So let's see how you Leos do it. Because once again, when the moon goes full in your sign, it causes really extreme emotional reactions because it's in your sign. So it's like it's scratching your wounds or what you need to learn. So keep that in mind. If you have a strong reaction to what is said around you, be mindful that it might just be something you need to hear. Having said that, not do we want to hear it all the time. Okay. So going to the 5th sign of the natural wheel of the zodiac, going to the 6th sign, going to the 6th sign of the natural wheel of the zodiac and Virgo, whose ruling planet is also Mercury. Like Gemini, Virgo is going to have to let go of what they hold on to intellectually. What does Virgo hold on to in an intellectual way that is blocking them from their own success? How do we get Virgo to step out of their way? Where do they go? How do we move them? Because they have this thing where they don't like to do it. And if they do it, it comes out as basically a critique of other people. So for Virgo, you're going to have to realize it's you who's being critiqued right now so that you can make the correct choices. Making those correct choices can be hard when you're analyzing and critiquing yourself at the same time. So I'm asking Virgos just to be really comfortable in the fact that they can't do everything perfectly, to let it go, to forgive themselves and move on. So then we go to the 7th sign of the natural wheel of the zodiac, and that is Libra. Libra. Okay, Libra, you're mixed in with all that Capricorn energy, the Cancer node, the Capricorn node, Pluto, and Saturn. So there's like a whole bunch of stuff that's just draining your energy. Now, Libra gets along nicely with the full moon in Leo and this eclipse. It is a good thing. It's the other planetary aspects that are causing Libra to be very serious right now. There are also health issues for Libra at the moment. With Pluto and Saturn squaring in Capricorn, you guys need to watch your vitality. So if you are gaining too much weight as a Libra, if you are burning both ends of the candle, if you are not taking care of dental stuff, whatever it is, you need to focus on that. You need to get your physical health tip-top shape for the energy that's coming in after this eclipse for you guys. So I want you to focus on that. The full moon in Leo should be perfectly fine for you. The eclipse is where we need to focus, because with those other planets squaring you, again, Pluto and Saturn, you have to make these changes. You're not going to be able to go, oh, I have a toothache, I don't need to see the dentist. It's okay, it doesn't really hurt. No, it'll blow up and you'll have to have tooth surgery or something. So make those decisions systematically and start doing it over the next 6-month period. Because remember, eclipses head on into the next 6 months. So after Libra, we have the 8th sign of the natural wheel of the zodiac, and that is Scorpio. And Scorpio's ruling planet is Pluto. Traumatic planet of change, and basically if you are not following your correct path, you will be smacked in the side of the head, possibly endure an earthquake, fall off the side of a cliff until you will pay attention to the path that you're supposed to be on. So Scorpios, that's what this eclipse is all about, and it is squaring you with the full moon in Leo. It is a squaring aspect and this eclipse. So for you guys, you actually have to chart out what it is you want to do and actually start making and taking action, which you've been avoiding. So we have Ceres in Scorpio. So this is going to include you in that grand water trine with the North Node in Cancer, Ceres in Scorpio, and Chiron in Pisces. So if you need to heal it, you can heal it during this time. So keep that in mind, Scorpios. Whatever's been sitting in the pit of your stomach that you haven't been able to change, if you acknowledge it and you admit it hurts you and you take the steps to heal it, you're actually going to be pushed along by the grand water trine. So you are in a lucky space during this full moon lunar eclipse. And then I go to Sagittarius, the 9th sign of the natural wheel of the zodiac. Sagittarius, you guys, what can I say about you guys? Happy Sagittarius. Okay, Sagittarius, this is a fire sign full moon for you. So it's a trining aspect, but it's going to ask you to be really serious. There's nothing Sagittarius hates more than getting really serious with the things that they have to do to lay the foundation for the next year so that they can actually follow their path. They hate that. The reason they hate it is because it takes away from their playtime, as I've said a bazillion times. Sagittarius is on a mission to have fun, but now the energy turns serious. And whatever Sagittarius is going to admit to themselves that's keeping them stuck, whatever disappointments they have, whatever that they blame other people for, whatever regrets that they have, they need to acknowledge it. They don't like to do it because that makes them sad. And then if they're sad, they're not happy, and they're happy Sagittarius. So they don't like to do that. But they have to do it during this time to set it free so they can then balance the material and the spiritual and actually bring a creative element in, because you are trining with this full moon in Leo. You need to get your self-confidence and your creative energy uplifted. The only way to do it is to let go of those things that make you feel like you don't have it. So from Sagittarius, we go to Capricorn, we go to the 10th sign of the natural wheel of the Zodiac, and currently residing Saturn in Capricorn and Pluto in Capricorn. Oh my God, you guys have had just such a time. So the universe is asking Capricorns, beside the full moon, and keep in mind, Capricorns have a very serious, studious kind of energy, and they're all about working, although they can be immature within the process of their work because they don't understand why they have to keep working, but it's just part of who they are. This full moon in Leo is going to make them more playful and more dramatic, of course, and it's also with Pluto and Saturn traveling along in their sign, making them really serious about changing their life. So for those of you that have Capricorn sun, moon, or rising, or people around you that are Capricorn, they're going to get very serious about how to change their life. How do they do it? And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's extremely serious for them. That's all I can say during this full moon lunar eclipse. The next 6 months for Capricorn, they are serious. So if you have a Capricorn person who's on a diet, they're really going to diet and they're really going to lose the weight. If you have a Capricorn person that says they're going to get out of debt, they're out of debt. Buy a new house, they're buying a new house. They're not going to let this slide by. So for Capricorn, it's all about, as usual, the work and the focus of taking action and moving forward. So from Capricorn, we go to Aquarius, the 11th sign of the natural wheel of the Zodiac, and the ruling sign, or Aquarius's ruling planet actually, is Uranus, which is located in Aries, giving you Aquarius types a little bit of an angry undertone or a little bit of an Aryan undertone. Now, the sun has just gone into Aquarius, so it is your birthday month. Yay! Aquarius loves to have a happy birthday month, but we're starting off your birthday month seconds after the sun has gone into your sign, not seconds, hours after the sun has gone into your sign at 9:16 p.m. on the West Coast. We have a full moon lunar eclipse in your opposition. So you are being affected dramatically. Your whole life is in upheaval at the moment. There are changes whether you like it or not. Aquarius feels like they're on sinking sand ground, like they can't stand, like the ground is moving. So for Aquarius people, you have to get your grounding, your focus, your feeling back, your edge. It's not going to happen right away, and you need to be patient with yourself. It's going to take another 5-6 months for you to get into that flow energetically, because things are being hurled at you, things that you never wanted to have happen. Things are just being thrown at you, things that you didn't think you'd have to deal with. This could be having to do with family, friends, loved ones, home, property, work. Just the most unexpected, strange things are happening and putting you into an emotional way. Now remember, Aquarius loves to detach. Anybody with Aquarius sun, moon, or rising knows what I'm talking about. You guys are good at detaching. They will not respond to things on an emotional level. They will observe it. So they don't get like caught up like their opposite sign of Leo. But because we're in an opposite with the Leo full moon and eclipse, Aquarius is going to go ballistic, bombastic, loud. So for Aquarius, they're not used to expressing themselves this way, and it is shocking for them. Now, Aquarius, we go to Pisces. Last but not least, the 12th sign of the natural wheel of the Zodiac. And Pisces is involved in that grand water trine, which includes the North Node, Ceres, and Chiron. Chiron is now in your sign, Pisces, so you are able to heal yourself. You are able to start the process to heal what lays deep inside of you. Keep in mind, Pisces is a water sign and will be directly affected by the full moon lunar eclipse. They cannot help themselves. They open their energy up and it's extreme. They feel everything. They are empathic and they will continue to be empathic during this process. The next 6 months, they are still in the process of cleaning up their lives and taking the creative steps forward to their own self-confidence and strength. So that's what's ahead for Pisces. And once again, my name is Sloan, and I'll be back.